of your kindness once again. With a cord of three unbrokenly belong to you. Beautiful marriage garden, blossoming in truth. Let it grow in your love, we bloom again. When the rush of life feels louder than our vows, and weeds of worry try to take the ground, you, Lord, teach our hearts to slow, to tend, not tear, to speak with gentle truth and listen in repair. When storms roll in and nights run long, we're rooted in your faithful love, still strong. Plant the seed, tend the soil, let the Spirit be the rain. In the beautiful marriage garden, you are mending every pain. With a cord of three unbroken, we will stand and sing. Love grows wild and holy in the shelter of the King. For the single heart that's learning how to wait for the bride and groom with calendars and fate. For the decades deep who water vows with grace. No seasons ever wasted in your cultivated place. Teach us tools to heal, to reconcile and forgive, to guard our words with wisdom and choose peace is how we live. Plant the seed, tend the soil, let the Spirit be the rain. In the beautiful marriage garden, you are mending every pain. With a cord of three unbroken, we will stand and sing. Love grows wild and holy in the shelter of the King. We'll prune our pride, lift truth to life, and pray through every night. We'll learn to fight for us, not me, and keep our hearts contrite. Speak life, listen slow, let your word be where we go. Unity with purpose, hand in hand we grow. Plant the seed, tend the soil, Spirit be our rain. Make our covenant a mirror of your kindness once again. With a cord of three unbrokenly belong to you. Beautiful marriage garden, blossoming in truth. Let it grow in your love, we bloom again.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. This is the Beautiful Marriage Garden podcast. Our names are Michael and Mary Agronah, and we are a Christian couple who are interested in helping others live God glorifying lifestyle. If today is the first time of stopping here, we're excited to have you here. And we trust God that you enjoy a very good conversation with us. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Mary. How are you
Yeah,
doing this morning?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you too?
I'm highly blessed and favored too.
Okay, yes. So today's another day the Lord has made. We're excited to be here. And more than ever, we are happy to be able to have a conversation with you to talk to you about practical guidance on how to choose a spouse, whether you are married, you are yet to be married. We believe this conversation is crucial. If you are married, this will help you speak with somebody, your child, your friend. If you are yet to be married, this is golden. You have to dig in to take everything we'll say today that will help you in your journey to finding a spouse. And if today is the first time of joining us, this has been ongoing. We have a couple of series. And Michael, would you want to share with us what we've been doing so far?
Yes, of course. So you're welcome for those of you joining us for the first time, and we've been having a couple of discussions. I wanted to share with you the various discussions we've been having. Mary, I'm sharing my screen now. Tell me if it's working. Okay, yes, I can see it's working. So
I can
if
see.
you want to find all that we've spoken about so far, you can go to our YouTube page at beautifulmarygarden.com. The podcast page has all the talks we've given, the episodes we've had, but we've organized them in terms of playlist to make life easy. And some of the topics we've touched on is how to heal from past relationships. So you started a relationship, it didn't work out, you left broken and wounded, and you don't even have the courage to start a new relationship. How do you get yourself from that point of brokenness to being healed and then having confidence to start a new relationship? So we've spoken extensively on that. We also spoke about how important are physical features when you are choosing a spouse. Then we spoke at length on the whole concept of marriage proposals. What is it? How do you reject a proposal if you're not in favor of it? How do you like it? How do you accept a proposal? How do you even make a proposal? If you're a lady and there's a guy getting close to you, you believe he's interested in you, but he's still not making his intentions known, what do you do? So these are things we spoke about in that series. Then we spoke about what are some of the important conversations you should be having in a dating relationship in order to prepare you for a successful marriage. So we touched on that, and then we also spoke on the five love languages, and we mentioned the fact that we all need to learn how the person we are dating or the person we are married to feels love and speak that language to the person. We also spoke about one episode, which I don't seem to see here in the playlist, where we were talking about the basic differences between male and females, how males are different from females, and how misunderstandings can arise just because we do not understand the basic differences. Our
Okay, that episode is found in important conversations when dating.
important. Oh, okay, awesome. Then our last discussion we just had was on how to stay pure in a dating relationship, how to stay pure. We explained the concept of purity and we provided guidelines to put in boundaries to make sure you stay pure. So that is what we've discussed so far. Mary, feel free to add up anything that I may be missing.
Yeah, I think you've given a general overview of what we've done so far. One thing I want to say is that today we are streaming on YouTube and TikTok. So wherever you are joining us from, and also on Facebook because we've shared it on Facebook as well. Wherever you are joining us from, make sure you interact with us. Make sure you engage in the conversation. Make sure that you are an active participant. Welcome once again to the Beautiful Marriage Garden podcast.
Awesome.
Okay, are you ready to take
I
us
am very
again?
ready. Very, very, very ready. Yeah.
Perfect. So, as we do all the time, taking us today, Michael will be looking at practical guidance on how to choose a spouse. This series is part of a bigger project we are working on. And we mentioned to you the last time that we are coming up with a book, which is to help singles find a marriage spouse. So, this is part of a bigger project. We love you so much that we want to help you with all the tools that you need in your search for a married spouse. So if today is your first time of joining us, stay glued. I will hand over to Michael as he takes us through this series. Michael, are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you, Mary. Once
Okay,
again, I
great.
want to welcome every one of you, wherever you're joining us from, whether you're joining in Canada, outside Canada, joining on Facebook, joining on TikTok, joining on YouTube, wherever you are joining us from. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. We really value it. And we are trusting that our time together will be blessed. We always start with a prayer, not because we want to appear religious, but it's part of our culture. So, we'll share a quick word of prayer. Father, we thank you for this moment. We ask that you give us deep insight and understanding. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Today is a part of a bigger picture where we are talking about practical steps when choosing a marriage spouse. Mary, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if that is showing at the moment.
Yeah, can you share it again, please?
Reshare again. Okay, let's do that. So share. How about this?
It works now.
Awesome. So If you are joining us from any of these platforms, can you say send a yes? Can you tell us in the chat where you join us from? If you join us from TikTok, put in TikTok. If you join us from YouTube, YouTube. If you join us from Facebook, Facebook. So the discussion today is part of a bigger picture where we'll be talking about this next week and the following weeks. Practical guide to searching and finding a marriage spouse. This is a very crucial topic. Now, let me dive in straight away by pointing to this passage of scripture in Proverbs 18:22. And there is so much insight to glean from this passage. It says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Now, the phrase finding a wife, he who finds a wife, implies a couple of things. First, I want to highlight three things. First of all, the idea that there is a search process involved in finding a spouse. And then the second is the fact that there is a deliberate effort to finding. So it isn't the idea that okay, so I don't care. I'm just seated folding my arms, and then all of a sudden I'll find a spouse. No, it doesn't work that way. And then the third is the fact that in this phrase implies that there is a decision to be made. In other words, finding something means that you have to deliberately put in some measures to make a choice that this is the one I want. Now, this series is very important because many times people are not taught how to search for a spouse and how to find. So, we are going to deal with searching and finding. So, the first few things I want to lay across is the fact that one, if you are going to find a wife, you have to, or find a husband, or find a spouse, you've got to do some search. And then two, that search is not going to be done while you are just relaxed, unconcerned, sleeping, or not just caring about finding somebody. And then three, you have to be decisive. This is what I want. And all these things need to be done prayerfully. So that is the first foundation I want to lay for all our brothers and sisters who are trusting God for a spouse. There is a search process involved. There is an effort involved. It will not come to you. You will not just chance into a good wife or chance into a good spouse. There is a decision to be made. There is a search process involved. Now, let us talk a bit about the first part. So, I've just highlighted the fact that if you don't care about finding a spouse, we meet a lot of people in our counseling journey who they say they want a spouse, yet they are not actively searching. They are just so relaxed, not concerned, and in their minds, if the time comes, they will find it. Well, it's mostly doesn't work that way. You have to be on putting the work. Now, the second thing to emphasize here is the fact that yes, you need to search, but you need to search not as one who is desperate or in haste. So it's a thin line. So you are searching for a spouse, but at the same time, you are not hastily looking for one or desperately in search to settle with anybody that come. It must be, I am honestly looking but I am not hasty. I'm honestly looking for one, but I'm still patient and trusting God. So the passage that really strikes me when I read is the Isaiah 28:16 passage. We say that, so this is what the Lord God says. I lay a stone in Zion, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. The one who believes will never be shaken. The last part is what I want to emphasize on. This is a promise God gives that He's doing this. And He says that if somebody believes, they will not be shaken. They will not be in haste. They will not be desperate. So, first of all, I want to put across that God's plan for every single one of us is to enjoy our marriages. If you do get married, God wants you to enjoy your marriage. God wants you to have a good time in your home. And if you truly believe that, being hasty, growing, aging, somebody needs to come, anybody who comes, I'll say yes, and that kind of thing. It's just proof that you don't trust and believe in God's promise for you. So don't be in haste. Most times when we are in haste in making decisions, we often make the wrong decisions. Mary, feel free to add your voice to this at any point that you want to.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, before we get into the search process itself, I want to lay these foundations. Let's talk about the role of prayer in the search process. Sad to say that in our experience, most people we've met who are looking for a spouse are not praying. Or they are praying but very casually, or they are praying but they don't take the prayer aspect seriously. Now, if this aspect is missing, it doesn't matter the search you do, you might end up finding the wrong person. So let's explain why prayer is an important part of the process. The first thing is that the institution of marriage you're getting into is a lifetime journey, right? You're not going, it's not an experiment that you're going to have and then back off if it doesn't work and and so on. You're going to stay in for life. And here Jesus' quote where he says that so they are no longer two but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let man not separate. So in the mind of God, once you get into marriage, even if you get into it to discover you've married the wrong person, you're staying in it for life for life. Now, the second thing to mention is the fact that you and I, as human as we are limited in our knowledge of what the future holds and in our knowledge of who truly the person we are going to marry is. So here is a situation we are confronted. You are going into something that is for life, yet you don't know what the future holds. And you are also claiming you love this guy or this lady, yet honestly, you don't know him that much. You don't compare to who he is. What you know about him or what you know about her is very little. So, but you need this information to make the right decision, right? To make the right decision whether this person is the best person for me or whether whether this person will go with me through uh, the storms of life in the future. So this alone is a call for prayer because you are confronted with two things that you have very limited knowledge of, which are integral for deciding on who to choose. So, first of all, the idea of not knowing the future, it's every single human being um should accept that. But I will still put across this passage of scripture from James where he says that now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business and make money. James is saying that why are you saying that you do not even know what will happen tomorrow? This is pointing to the fact that, well, you might have everything planned. You know that you're going to marry, and then you have children, and then you raise a family. Your children will have a grandchildren, give you grandchildren, and so on. But things don't work out the way we plan. You might marry and children are not coming, or you may marry and one of you falls sick, and the other person will have to take their time, the rest of their time, taking care of their sick spouse. Or there are so many unforeseen events. So James is pointing to the fact that, well, have your plan, okay, but be certain that there are components of the future you don't know. Now, the next part is the part that we don't know very well the people we plan to marry. So, even though you meet somebody, you say, oh, I'm in love. I really love this guy. I really love this lady. He's caring. She's caring. It's like match made from heaven. Well, which is great. But you cannot really tell who a person you claim to love today, will become in the future. And you can't also tell if they are truly in this genuinely because they love you or care about you, or they're just in to play games. So these are two areas that you are not sure about. And it's risky to go ahead and make decisions without having these areas sorted. So here's another passage. First Corinthians 2:11 mentions that, for who among men knows the thought of man except his own spirit? So this passage is pointing the fact that, well, you don't know what is in my mind. You don't know what is in my heart. But I know what is in my mind. I know what is in my heart. We've heard of many stories where people were dating for so many years, only to realize at the last till that, oh, this other person I was dating was already married with kids, and they are just in for papers, or they're just in for these other things of pleasure. Jeremiah 17:9 mentions that the heart of man, you can't tell what the heart of man can do. The heart of man is desperately deceitful, desperately wicked, beyond the point of cure. Who can really understand it? So sometimes when we are in love, the emotions may cloud our reasoning and our judgment. So these are facts that calls for prayer, because by praying, you are admitting that you have a limitation. And because of that, you are calling on a supreme being who has all the information to guide you in the search process. And the truth is that the chances of choosing the right person when you ignore the role of prayer is very slim, very, very slim. Yes, you find somebody who might make you happy today, but what about 10 years' time? So here are a couple of passages again. Until now, all we are still doing is laying the foundation for the set process. So 1 John 3:20 says that even if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart, and he knows all things. So the point I want to emphasize there is that there's somebody who knows the future. He knows everything. He knows how 15 years down the line your marriage is going to play out. He knows how this person you claim to love today might turn up the next year in your marriage. So why not consult somebody who has that feedback for you? And Jeremiah 17:9 emphasizes that God sees beyond the physical appearance. He looks into the heart of man. You can't see the heart
Uh,
of anybody.
I think that was a typo. It should be First Samuel.
Oh, First Samuel. I beg your pardon. So First Samuel, I believe that should be where am I? Chapter 16, verses 7. Mary, can you check that for me? First Samuel
Yes, let
6.
me confirm quickly.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out. So First Samuel 16:7, I believe that should be correct. Okay, so the point there is that God sees beyond what you see. God sees beyond the physical looks, the way he's caring, the way she's caring, the way you feel about
Yeah.
him, the way you feel about her.
First Samuel chapter 16, verse 7.
16 verse 7. Thank you. Thank you so much. So please, sorry about that error. So First Samuel 16:7 is the one that points out that God sees beyond what we see. Now, if you'd have somebody who knows the future, who knows this person well enough, what should prevent you from spending time in prayer and say, look, I need your help in this search. I know I have to search. I know I don't know it all. Can you guide me and help me see better? And it's just wisdom to do that. So, this is the foundation we want to lay before we go to the search process. Now, Mary, any comment for us so far? Or are we all good?
Yeah, I think we are good. And these are very important nuggets you are sharing with us. Anyone who takes these things seriously will surely have a fruitful result. As Michael said, we are humans. We don't work with x-rays. So you might not know what is in my heart. I don't know what is in your heart, but there's definitely a character within me that you might not know. God in his infinite wisdom even knows us before we are born. So before Jacob and Esau were born, he said Esau have loved Jacob have loved, Esau had hated, because God knew what was in the heart of Esau. So don't never look down in prayer.
Okay. Now, I've made this points clear. If you omit prayer, you are likely to choose the wrong person. Now we want to start the search process. This is where we're going to get practical. We'll lay the foundation today and start delving into it next week. All the things we are sharing for here are useful for anybody, whether the person is religious or not. But these are important concepts that anybody who applies will benefit from. Now, I took some time to make this observation and I realized that this is really, really true. When people are buying a product, they prefer to buy from somebody they know rather than somebody who is a stranger. So if you're my friend and I'm selling a phone, you might want to buy from me than somebody who just walks in to your door and knocks at your door and say, "Look, I have a phone for sale." Because we are comfortable dealing with those we know than those we don't. The same thing is true for people who are employers. When employers are choosing um, people to employ or hire for a particular role, many times they are looking for somebody they already know or they have contact with, right? Sometimes they may circulate the ad within the organization before it even goes out. Why? Because all of us instinctively we want to deal with those we know compared to strangers who we are just getting to know or we barely have any clue about. Ironically, when it comes to the area of marriage and choosing a spouse, many people don't want to choose somebody they know. They think, this guy who is my childhood friend, I've seen him um, naked. I've seen him walk barefooted. How can he say he loves me? Come on, no, 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 no. So when they think of choosing a spouse, they are thinking of, oh, one day Mrs. Wright is going to come from somewhere else we've never met before, and we'll meet in this romantic, lovely way, and she'll smile at me and I'll smile at her. Whereas this childhood friend has been in his or her life and trying to make advances and say, no, 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 no. Come on, how can we're just brothers and sisters? How can you say you love? No, 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 no. Because
And
in
it
the
is even more funny when
Yeah.
they think that, oh, we, especially those from certain part of the world where, of course, there wasn't much improvement as they were growing up. So they were their playmates. Sometimes they were standing around the roadside to buy porridge, or maybe they didn't even have enclosed bathrooms in their house. So they were all standing outside to take a
Right.
so we tend to look down on those closer. And Michael, what is funny is that you keep rejecting all those familiar faces before you realize they are all married and you are all alone
You
standing.
alone. That is sad. We've seen this. There are too many examples we have seen in our lives. Now, the whole reason or rationale we find for that kind of thinking is because people think that, oh, if love will be romantic and exciting, it should be somebody I don't know or somebody I'm now just getting to know. That's where the excitement is. And somebody I know, that's boring. I don't want to deal with that. But it really doesn't add up, right? If you want somebody to work with, you want somebody you know. But when it comes to somebody to marry, most people are looking outside the people they really, really know. So we have this theory that we're going to present to you, this whole concept we have put together called the circles of connection. We'll introduce you today and we'll start telling you how to use them. So let's start off this way. This circle you're seeing here, the big circle or the whole square represents maybe your life. We've broken that into three groups: the inner haven, the opportunity zone, and then the horizon. The inner haven is what you find in the core. This inner haven are the circle of people that you know very well, and the circle of people who know you. They could be childhood friends you grew up with, close family members, long standing friends, mentors, people you really know. They know you, they know your weaknesses, they know where you grew up. Then you can't lie to them about yourself. You can't come and say, oh, I grew up with a silver spoon in my in my mouth. They'll say, when did that happen? I know you when you were begging for bread. I know you when you were struggling for fees. I knew you. You if you were ever to tell a lie about yourself, you can't do that before these people because they know you that well. And this is the group of people, amazingly, most of our young adults who are desiring marriage don't want to deal with when it comes to love relationship. But that's a wrong thinking. Now, these people should be the place where you begin your search because you already know them, they already know you. If somebody in that circle claims to like you, they're not liking you because most times they are not liking for an ulterior motive. They at least they know you, they know who you are before making that choice, right? So you have a good chance. I'm not saying necessarily that you're going to end up finding your spouse in that region, but I'm saying that don't ignore the people in your inner haven. Don't let familiarity make you think they cannot be a potential match for you.
There is always a statement that familiarity breeds contempt. So we tend to be too familiar and we get to lose all the precious jewels around us because we are too familiar.
Awesome. That is true. Because we've seen so many examples, and you see a young guy who is dating, who is trying to make advances towards this wonderful lady, and the lady says no, and we find out, why are you saying no? And she's not saying no because this guy doesn't have a future or this guy doesn't wouldn't take her far. She's saying no because I know this guy. Why would I why would he even think of dating me? And down the line, the guy finds somebody else and moves on, and the lady is still not married. And the other side, the other way is also true, right? So please don't overlook people in your inner heaven, childhood friends, close relatives. And by close relatives, I'm not saying marry a close relative, but we'll come to talk about the role of using the network of inner heavens to choose somebody. I'll tell you my story, how I found my wonderful looking wife. I'll tell you my story. I was in Norway. I knew that this was my time to marry. Well, where is this Mrs. Right? I've waited for her all my life, praying on my knees. She's not coming. Mary, where were you? Love, where were you? When I was on my knees every night, why were you not coming? Right? So, see, hear my story. I was praying, definitely was praying. I spoke about the praying component. But in addition to the prayer, there was a very great friend. He may be online today. Stanley from Norway, wherever you are, Stanley, God richly bless you. I spoke to him, I went to him and said, look, I am at the point where I want to settle down and I'm seriously searching. If you know anybody that you know is a good person, don't hesitate to let me know. So what did I do? What was I doing there? Stanley was in my inner haven, a close friend, a close person to me. And of course, I can't, there are people in your inner haven you can't date, right? But you can take advantage of the network. So Stanley, I told Stanley that, oh, you know, this is my vision. Let me know if anybody. And Stanley was an influential person in the church where I was worshiping at the moment at that time. And so casually he said, oh, there was this lady called Mary. She used to be here. She was very active, blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, really? There's Mary? Okay. Would you mind connecting her to me? He said, yes. And then we got in touch on Facebook and started communicating. I sent a message. The wonderful Mary wouldn't respond for some reason. I waited. She wouldn't get back. I waited. She wouldn't get back. And I said, what's going on? So I go back to Stanley again. I said, Stanley, you know that lady you spoke to me about? I sent her a friend request. She wouldn't respond. Come on, what's going on? And then Stanley messages Mary and said, oh, they have this wonderful gentleman who is a friend. He needs you to help him buy a Bible. And that was what I was messaging her about because she was an expert in customized Bible, I was told. And that's how come she got in touch. Supposing Stanley wasn't in the equation, yes, God can still do it, but it's going to be more tough, right? So take advantage of your inner haven. Next week, we are going to be talking about how to use your inner haven. For instance, like I did, even though I didn't have somebody in my inner haven that I eventually married, I opened up to people in my inner haven I believe were good and influential people. And eventually, one of them connected me to my wonderful, precious apple in my net looking lady. Right? So, and we'll come on in this journey, we'll be talking about the role of recommendation. I'm amazed how much young people seeking for spouse don't want the input of anybody. They want to make the choice all by themselves. They want to keep their relationship secret. And but sadly, when they get to the point where they are hurting, that they know that they have to find somebody to help, right? So we'll be talking about um, how to use recommendations on the in this discussion. So that this just briefly introducing the idea of the circle of connections. So inner haven, start your search with your inner haven. And I literally would put pen on paper when I got to meet Mary. And the few people I knew who knew her, I'll say, who is that lady you call Mary? Why is she so a big deal? And they say, oh, she's like this, she's like that, she's very helpful, she's very on point, she's very proactive in tasks and so on. I said, oh, is that so? Okay. When I go to my room, I go on my knees, I pray, and I write those lists down. Now, when I list those lists, I go when I'm interacting with her, I want to see, okay, now can I see that for myself? They say she's kind. Is that a myth? Can I say for sure she's kind? Oh, I saw traces of it a couple of times. I go and take, okay, that checks out. Many people are not intentional in their search for spouse. I think many people just think it will happen. If you were going to buy a car, you would do research. You would be deliberate about it. You would put in the work. But many people are not. And finally, when this Mrs. Wright said yes to me, come on, that was and that was just an exciting because I put in the work and I was just waiting for yes or no. I was willing to accept no, but when the yes came, it was so exciting. Even before she said yes, one of the last stages I took her through was I introduced her to certain mentors in my life. And I told the mentor that, oh, this lady, I'm spying her, I'm eyeing her. I'm sending her to you to maybe deliver something. Can you keep an eye on her and just give me feedback? And she went going to do run maybe an errand for me, but actually I was doing a research. Okay, we'll talk later more about research later on, but first, don't disregard your inner haven. We've met people, oh, this guy, I know him, this lady, I know her. Ah, no, 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 no. I can't date somebody I know that well. And down the line, they're still single. The second part of the second circles of
Can
connection,
I just add a little to the inner haven?
please go ahead. Let me go back.
And as we are talking about the inner haven, we are not advocating that if there is somebody in your inner heaven whose character doesn't conform to that of a good spouse, just accept him or her because they are in your inner heaven. We are talking about people within your inner cycle who you don't have anything against. As Michael says, sometimes the only thing you have against them is the fact that you know them. That is that is not good an excuse or the only thing you have against oh but you when we were growing up you didn't even have money to buy food. I was the one buying food for you. Now you want to propose to me. This is not helpful. But if there are character deformities, you know this guy in your neighborhood, you've grown up with him, you know he's a he's a player, like he can run girls like that, and you still think he's in your inner haven, so you say yes. We are not advocating that. In the same way, there could be a lady in your inner heaven, known by your parents, everything, but you know she has extreme anger issues. She's disrespectful. She's very lazy. She also a player. She likes moving around with men. We are not saying that because she is in your inner heaven, go for her. No, we are advocating for the people within your inner heavens whose character conforms to what anybody with a right approach to marriage will be looking for. I just wanted to clear this so you don't go about chasing inner heaven, and then missing out on the good things you should be looking out for. It's good. It's good to get somebody in your inner heaven, but let your eyes be open so wide so you don't miss it. And Michael, I just want to add a sorry, I'm taking your time.
No,
There are
no.
times that our parents also plan for us to marry people within our inner heavens for business purposes. It doesn't favor us, it favors them. because there is this neighbor who is the owner of the business the father is working in, and that if the child marries the son of this business owner, the father will likely get promoted for the rest of his life. He'll probably not be poor again. He will see himself working with the big and the great. But you also know that this child is not equipped enough to even manage the business the father is even managing. You also know that this child has character deficiencies. These are the nitty gritties we should consider in the inner haven. But overall, there are good people around us. There are fantastic people around us. I grew up with people who are occupying high and mighty positions now. They are doing very well in life. I knew some of them who were utterly rejected because they proposed to people around them. And now the people around them are still single and they are doing very well. So do not use your own skill, which is not appropriate to miss God's choice.
Thank you, Mary. That was a very good point to make. So we can strike the balance. Certainly, we are not saying go and find somebody in your inner behavior. No, we are saying that don't reject potentials in your inner haven on the basis that you know them. And we say this to you because we've seen this so many times as we counsel people, and that's sad. So don't ignore people in your inner haven based on familiarity. If you are saying no because there are character issues, there are clear red flags, yes, that's correct. But if you say no only because, oh, you are so familiar with this person, you don't see yourself dating this person because you know the person that well, then maybe you may be wrong. So and we stressing on that because in our experience, this is the area where most people are not even thinking about, or there are clear people around who are potentials, and they are looking, their eyes are looking elsewhere and not looking around at all. So don't be that kind of person. Look afar, but from near. Look from your own circles through afar. Don't be one who is just walking with your head lifted up, looking up to heaven, when around you are people who could easily be an answer. Right. So certainly, thank you, Mary. That was a great point you made to strike the balance. We are saying that don't ignore people around you. That's all we're saying. So even if they are not um Mary, let me hear your thought on this. Is there anybody who gets to know somebody and there was no person at all involved in helping the process of connection? Do you understand my question? So let's say whether friendship, whether any form of relationship, business partner, Is it is it the case that you can meet somebody, you can make a new friend that does not, you got to know this person all by yourself? There was not a single person other than that person, that friend you've just made, playing a little role in helping connect you to this person? I think the whole of life is that connected that even if I met you at a party, it was a friend's party that invited me. Or even if it was my party, a friend of yours invited you to the party. Or even if you're a childhood friend, somebody started a connection somewhere. Mary, what do you think about that?
Yeah, there is always something that brings us together. It's possible that you might have bumped into the person in the mall because you went to the mall to do something and you accidentally or incidentally bump to that person. That is it. But even in that meeting, there is always a third person that comes in to help the relationship grow. So of course, there are some people I have heard of stories of people who met each other at the mall, even they bumped into each other. One's phone fell, the other bent down to pick the phone, and that was how they got to meet. And they are married, they are enjoying their home. So that do happen. But we are saying that that is not always the case. There
Right.
is always opportunity for. In fact, we need men. That's the whole thing. Don't live your life as an island. That oh, as for me, I can prosper alone. You need men to prosper.
Okay, great. So the connections are very important. Now let's delve on the next two, what they are. Then we'll start dealing with the rest later. The opportunity zone. The opportunity zone are people you might not know very well. They are not close friends. It might just be hi, hello. You meet them once a while, maybe at school. You meet them once a while, maybe in the gym. Or you barely know them that well, like compared to the people you know from the inner haven. For these, or they are friends of another friend, and so on. Like in the case of Mary, I mentioned that she was a friend to this other friend that I knew. Now, for these kind of people, what you want to just generally be a nice person. You want to generally just be friendly to people around you. Not friendly only because you want a spouse, but just friendly as a human being living on earth. It just be nice. You never know where the next connection to the next thing would come from. So this might be somebody you just saying hi, or a neighbor, or somebody you don't really sit down to chat with in details, but you meet them occasionally and so on. Just build friendship. That's all. Just build friendship. Build friendship. Friendship is like an investment. And the investment for friendship is time and effort, right? So don't see that person maybe somewhere where you usually meet and then walk past, just go past. Because I don't know you. I don't know you. No, be friendly, be kind, be nice. Not because you're looking for something, but just be nice as a human being. Even you are nice, you are even helping yourself. You helping yourself stay positive, right?
I think what I just want to add to this particular one is the fact that some of us need to check ourselves. You know, your mood should not determine your day. There are people, they leave the house very sad because something didn't happen, and they go out in the streets spreading negativity. So you might not know, but you are targeted in the neighborhood as the lady who doesn't smile, as the lady who is always moody. As you know, these are not people you interact as much as those in your inner haven. But these are people who are also still in your cycle of connection. You have to, we are not saying live a life that is not genuine, but you cannot be a sad person all your life. You cannot be an angry person all your life. When they meet you eating outside, it's as if you are eating an elephant. Like your mannerisms are all over the place. There are people, of course, I always say that mannerisms are things you have changed, but there are people who wouldn't even want to get close if they know that you get some of these things wrong. So just make sure that whatever you do, you align yourself, be intentional about your life. Be very intentional. Intentional, not faking it, be real. Thank you.
That's a great point. The example you cited, if I know somebody as, I mean, very rude person, for some reason she comes across as very rude. If I have a friend who is trying to make advances to that person, what do you think that the advice from me would be? That lady, be careful. She's rude. And maybe she might not be rude, but she's probably sending those signals across because she didn't know me, right? So live a life, a genuine life, but definitely don't have this sort of life where everybody around you knows you as a very negative person, or knows you, if more than three people are saying that she's negative, or he's lazy, lazy. Maybe it might be true. Maybe even if it's not true, you gave them that message, right? So the point we are making here is that just live, be yourself, but in being yourself, don't be spreading negative comment about yourself. So let's say you live in a neighborhood, everybody saying, this lady, she doesn't know how to dress. She dresses shabbily. If any of them know somebody who is trying to show interest in you, say, that lady, no, 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 no. Of all people in the world, my brother, I will not advise that. No, no. You've just lost some potential there. So these things we are sharing with you are not like hard and fixed rules that if you do this, you get a spouse. If you do that, you get. No, but we are saying that these are things that if you ignore, can go to your disadvantage, can go to your disadvantage. So they are not fast and set rules, but they are just, even this works for getting a job. This works. There's more to this than just finding a spouse. Just be a nice person. Just be a good person. Be a friendly person. Anybody who wants friends should also be a friendly person. That's simple.
And
Yeah.
and one last thing to add, because our time is up, we might have to continue this next week. You
Right.
see, um, the world doesn't depend on you. We all need somebody. You have people within your opportunity zone. They might not be your everyday conversational people. They might not be the people who even put food on your table. You might say that, who are they? I don't need them to survive. Not even in a relation of marriage, but there are people we need, even though they are not so close to us. There are so many examples. Imagine, let's go to scripture. Imagine Joseph in prison with two people. Both of them had a dream one night. These were his prison, probably cellmates or neighbors. He gave them the interpretation of the dreams. One got assassinated, the other got released. They were both in his cycle of influence. Joseph told the other who got released that if you go, remember me. And for 2 years, this guy forgot Joseph, which added 2 years to Joseph's misery. This guy was the key to Joseph coming out of prison. They might not have been close friends, but when Pharaoh had a dream that needed interpretation, it was this guy. Joseph came out of the prison not to serve under him, he became the boss of the guy. So there are people who might not seem appealing now, but their recommendation can take you to places that your skills, your training, your finances, and all the investments you have made wouldn't take you. Personally, I've experienced it severally in different aspects of my life where people in my opportunity zone have made certain recommendations that have become a blessing to me. Treat people kindly, treat people with love, you don't have to be faking it. As I said, be genuine. There are friends of your friends who hold the key to your destiny. The same people could be the one who will lead you to your future spouse. Just be who you are. Don't present yourself on a high negativity zone that nobody can recommend you. Be be lovely, be conscious, especially for us the sisters. Before you speak to another person, consider, what if these words were spoken to me? How would I have accepted it? Before you dress, maybe your mirror will tell you you are looking beautiful. Imagine this is the dress your son's wife is bringing to your home. Before you ignore people. There are so many young ladies who have ignored billionaires and millionaires unaware because they were in the opportunity zone and they were taking the buses with them. They didn't know that, oh, outside the bus, they even own businesses and things that they were just very superfluous. They were superficial looking at what they see around. Be very intentional, be very determined. Make sure that you approach each and everyone with respect, honor, and be somebody who you who is recommendable. There are some people they are not recommendable. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mary. I want to make a last statement here by mentioning that what we are really sharing on this actually is just life. And we are not saying being nice to people because you are expecting something from somebody. No. Life has a way of giving back. If you give out, you may not even get the result from the person you're giving to. But that you would be in that situation one day where somebody's signature will just open a door for you, or somebody's one line statement. Mary, have you met people who say, I don't care what anyone thinks about me, I don't need anybody? Then you struggle through life. You will hustle,
No.
you will be qualified, you have all the certification, you have all the,
Yeah.
yeah, and people will still shut doors at you.
Yeah. There are people, they close the doors of their destiny with their actions, their mouth, and the way they present themselves. As I say, I have been blessed so much by people within my cycle of connection that I can't imagine that there are people who are within our cycles, but because of their actions, nobody even wants to recommend them. You are not trustworthy. You are not teachable. You are not humble. We are not saying lie down, let people step on you. But hey, you need people. You yourself, you know you don't have enough money to do ABC. By your mouth, when you go to social media, the kind of things you say, nobody even wants to get close to you. You speak as though you own the world, but you don't even have $2 to your name. That is dangerous. Be very, very conscious of the people within your opportunity zone. There is somebody you will meet casually in your neighborhood, but that person is the one who is assigned to ensure that you move from one level of greatness to the other. Don't be quick. Don't be quick. Somebody saw a lady cleaning the church. He said, hey, nice, beautiful lady like you are cleaning the church. And saw the lady's car. Say, ah, is that the old car you are driving? The following day, sent the CV to look for work, and the lady was a boss. The lady didn't drive the most plush car, but she was the boss. How do you get into it? Just be careful.
Okay, Mary, I think we'll finish off at this point. I will not touch on the Horizon scope. I'll finish up with a story I want to share with you. I was teaching at one university in Canada one day, and I was fairly new in that university. So I went to, the day they were writing their exam, I went to give their exam script to the invigilators and so on. On my way going, I got lost. I didn't know where the exam center was. So I find this student on the road. And then I stopped him. I said, look, I'm trying to locate this place. Do you know where it is? Can you help me? And this student was kind enough to show me. He said, oh no, that is the path you're going. Just take your right turn when you get to this spot and then you see the building. So I did. And then went to the exam hall, got everything prepped. Only for me to see this person who gave me the direction coming to sit in for my paper. He was one of my students. And then I was amazed because he didn't know I was the instructor for some reason. Maybe he never showed up.
He
He
never showed up in class.
showed up to class for the whole, because it was a small class, so I would have seen that, I would have known him.
Wow.
And I also didn't know he was a student in my class. Can you imagine if when I asked him for direction, he only said, I don't have time. I'm going to write an exam. Only to find out the person whose exam he's going to write is me. Right? Of course, that would not be a yardstick for penalizing whatever, but you can see how odd that would look. Now I'm the one handing over the paper to you. I'm the one detecting the difficulty of the questions. The next 3 hours of your time in that hall, I'm the one engaging you, right? And all of us have these kind of experiences. Um, so I want to finish up by saying that we are not saying that if you do these things, you get a spouse, but we are saying that if you neglect these, it can go negatively against you. And this is not just for finding a spouse, this is life in general.
Yeah.
We all thrive on our connections. The people you know, the people you've built friendship with. And we are not saying, many people don't invest in their relationships. And then when the time comes they need help, then they are calling people who they have invested time and effort in, and they're expecting that they will help them. But life doesn't work that way, right? So start building relationships, friendships, not just for marriage sake, but intentionally. You need people around you. There are people who can be your worst enemy today. Tomorrow, they might be your blessing. Don't just cut off people from your life easily. I've cut off people from my life, and at some point I realized, no, that was a mistake. I needed the same people, and others have done that. So we're finishing off here. We were talking at the discussion of how to search and find a spouse, and we started by saying that finding a spouse is not something you just sit down and it comes to you. I'm talking about finding a good spouse. There's a search involved. Part of this search process is an intentional, deliberate effort to pray, not just casually, but seriously praying, dedicating ample time praying about your spouse and asking for God's help. But aside that, it's also a search process. Be okay to open up to people within your inner haven, or be okay not to overlook people within your inner haven on the basis that you know them. Then, in general, be friendly to people who might just be high friends or people you don't know well. Just be friendly, be nice, be kind. Then, next week, we'll start talking about the horizon and we'll see how to connect all these. There isn't guarantee that once you do this, you get a spouse, but there is a guarantee that if you ignore these things, things can go against you, not just in the area of finding spouse, but life in general, because every single human being would never thrive without the help or push of anybody at all. So, Mary, I think that's where we'll end it today. And I'll ask you to give us our last comment, and then um, we can leave our audience for today.
Okay, so this is the Beautiful Marriage Garden podcast. Our names are Michael and Mary Agronah. Be sure to follow us on all our platforms. It's just at Beautiful Marriage Garden, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and everywhere. We also have our website, which is www.beautifulmarriagegarden.com. And for counseling needs, reach out to www.beautifulmarriage.com/counseling. And we hope to be a blessing to you. As Michael said, this podcast run every Saturday at 9 a.m. MST, 11 a.m. EST. So depending on where you are, you'll be able to do the calculation for us. If you are joining us from Europe, it'll be in the late afternoon. If you are joining us from Africa, probably almost evening time. If you are joining us from the Americas, early morning or brunch time. So God bless you all for coming, and I hope that this today's session has been a blessing to you. And the only announcement we have is the fact that our book is coming out, as we said the last time, and details had been shared. You can visit any of our platforms and you will get it. Michael, do you have a final word for us?
I want to wish our audience a very good weekend and to say to them that even for those not actively searching, the principle about building circles of connection applies to anything in life. you may not know when those will start playing out positively. So just be friendly, invest when somebody needs your help. Don't bluff the person. If you can, help the person. If you can't, be kind enough to say, oh, I wish I could, but I don't have the strength to do that now. And life just gives back to you when you give.
Before we say some words upon your life, we will end with our signature song. But I want to say that the Lord bless you, the Lord keep you as you enter this week. May doors of opportunities open. Every cycle of connection that you fall within, whether you are the inner circle, the horizon, the opportunity zone, may God use people, bring people into your life who will help you grow and advance. I pray that this week, every opportunity that you need, every door that needs to open, any person who needs to recommend you, and any way God wants to bless you through people, may you never miss it. I
Mm.
also pray that as we go out this week, we'll have a lot of testimonies to share. For those who are married, I pray that this week your marriages will blossom like a well-tended garden. Peace will be in your home, love, harmony. Those who are searching, I pray this week that your eyes will be open to meet the right people, or even the guidance to lead you to where you have to go. And most importantly, I pray that we all meet again full, whole, in one piece next week as we attend to this meeting again. God bless you all, and do not forget to share the Beautiful Marriage podcast to your friends and family. Someone might be blessed.
Thank you, Mary. So we'll play our signature song, and then that is us saying goodbye to you. After that, we'll see you next week. Have a blessed rest of the weekend.
God bless. Shalom.
Shalom.
When the rush of life feels louder than our vows, and weeds of worry try to take the ground, you, Lord, teach our hearts to slow, to tend, not tear, to speak with gentle truth and listen in repair. When storms roll in and nights run long, we're rooted in your faithful love, still strong. Plant the seed, tend the soil, let the Spirit be the rain. In the beautiful marriage garden, you are mending every pain. With a cord of three unbroken, we will stand and sing. Love grows wild and holy in the shelter of the King. For the single heart that's learning how to wait for the bride and groom with calendars and faith. For the decades deep who water vows with grace. Will seasons ever wasted in your cultivated place? Judge us tools to heal, to reconcile and forgive, to guard our words with wisdom and choose peace as how we live. Plant the seed, tend the soil, let the Spirit be the rain. In the beautiful marriage garden, you are mending every pain. With a cord of three unbroken, we will stand and sing. Love grows wild and holy in the shelter of the King. We'll prune our pride, lift truth to life, and pray through every night. We'll learn to fight for us, not me, and keep our hearts contrite. Speak life, listen slow, let your word be where we go. Unity with purpose, hand in hand we grow. Plant the seed, tend the soil, Spirit be our rain. Make our covenant a mirror of your kindness once again. With a cord of three unbroken, we belong to you. Beautiful marriage garden, blossoming in truth. Let it grow in your love, we bloom again.